It's proof that what once felt impossible is now reality. Green recently moved into this Hartford home with her son and daughter.
What was it like to move in here?
It was a relief. It was joyous, like very exciting.
Like many families, Green was feeling the pressure of rising rents. Connecticut is the 6th most expensive state in the country for renters, with average monthly rents nearing $2,000. But Green had financial concerns about becoming a first-time home buyer.
Did you even kind of think that it would be possible?
Initially, I was thinking it was impossible.
And she's not alone. Hartford was recently named the hottest housing market in the country. So what's behind it? Well, there's not enough homes to meet demand. That is increasing prices and helping homes to sell fast.
NACA proud.
Green turned to NACA, the Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America, which provides advocacy and counseling to help eliminate barriers to home ownership. The national nonprofit has an office in Hartford.
Everybody in America should own their own house. And everybody who have a house should be able to keep it.
People can take a free homebuyer workshop. NACA offers a below-market interest rate, no down payment, no closing costs, and people don't have to have perfect credit.
And I've seen a lot of people who come in who feel, I can't get this done. I'll never get this done. And they walk out here with a key. I've seen people go from homeless to owning a 2-family.
Green was able to buy a 3-bedroom home for her family.
So this is my living room, and I'm trying to be a plant mom.
And she hopes her story encourages others who think home ownership isn't possible.
For persons that are out there that still has some uncertainty, keep asking themselves, can they do it? Yes, you can do it.
Matt Austin for NBC News Now.
The American dream, and quite the plant mom out there. Matt Austin, thank you so very much. That's going to do it for us tonight. I'm Gotti Schwartz. We'll see you here tomorrow. But until then, stay tuned to NBC News. What up, everybody? Sorry. Hunter Burke, hello. Peace Bucks, hello. Not carbonated penicillin. I didn't even know that was a thing. SML, hello. 20 rogue planets for every star in our galaxy? What? Really? Did not know that. That's until the top. Our solar system only has 8 planets, allegedly. I'm still a Pluto guy, but Suzanne, so antibiotics for cough. I'm on doxycycline, or was, for a week. I took it for a week. Once in the morning, once at night. And I'm still super congested. So I don't know what the deal is. It's been 1 month. 1 month of coughing up a lung. What is going on? Also, you guys probably saw yesterday, that biological war segment still got me thinking. That book is wild, and obviously my body is fighting something. It's not that serious, but it's pretty scary what germs can do. You know what I mean? For the 50 states in 50 days, will Alaska make it to the show? Yes, and I can't wait to see what Alaska has in store. Rogue planets, scary space travel. Pedro, thanks so much. Love the eclipse. The eclipse is one of those things that brings us all together. Sela Adsd. I don't think we've seen you commenting in here before. Welcome to the team. Welcome to the stream. How's Sarah Palin if she's going to come from Alaska? Come in from Alaska? I don't know. Cord? Thurston? Is a local reporter going to do the story? That's what we were doing. We're highlighting the local reporting in our 50 states in 50 days. And there's a lot of really talented local reporters out there. Melissa Verduin. Hello, Melissa. How are you? No live stream tonight? No live stream tomorrow night. Yeah, because Steve Patterson is going to be holding down the fort. And the live stream, doing the live stream and doing the news is a mind discombobulator. So I say we let him crush it tomorrow. And then after that, next time he does it, let's give him the keys to the stream. What do you guys think? He's the best. James, I know a local reporter who would be perfect for Alaska. Are they an NBC affiliate? Welcome to Montana. That's where I'm from, rural America agriculture. Cord Thurston, you're very lucky. What part of Montana? I've spent some time out there in Montana, searching for treasure, searching for the Forrest Finn treasure. I don't know if you guys know, but if you do, man, it was quite a chapter in my life. Let's see here. Who is calling? This is not a time to be taking phone calls. Lauren Maxwell, Alaska's news source at the NBC station in Anchorage. You should tell her. Tell her about our 50 states in 50 days thing. Tell her we're looking. Madison County. Yes. Oh, that is amazing. Yeah, you're living in paradise. Living in paradise. James, what shift does Lauren work? Are you sticking with just YouTube as your platform, or would you consider multi-streaming like TikTok, Instagram, and Twitch? Tingy, are you watching on YouTube? Yes. Okay, so we actually have TikTok and Twitch going. If you want my honest take, Twitch has the cleanest picture. TikTok, is the feistiest sometimes, and YouTube has the regulars like SML, right? Where are the glasses? They're right here. I've just got so much sinus pressure right here, so I'm just trying to keep them off my face for a little bit. Gotti, are you doing Monday Night Live? Yes. She's normally on the 4, 5, and 6 shows, but it varies. James, that's a tough schedule. Just back-to-back live shots. I remember those days. It was wild. Connecticut taxes are killing homeowners. Yeah. Deborah, are you in Connecticut? It is very expensive out there. We were just in Mystic a couple of weeks ago, and it was very pretty. Max, it's going pretty well. Going pretty well. Oh, the Polaris evacuated smoke. Oh, man. Hopefully they don't. Yeah, those fires are no joke. Lisa is still on vacation. Should have taken a longer vacation myself. Let's see here. Did you guys do anything fun for the summer? Do y'all have kids back in school? We are back in the swing of the fall semester. Happy to report the kids are learning more things than I could teach them. She just celebrated her 40th anniversary at the station. Wow, that's amazing. What a cool market to be working in. All right, here's what we're going to start with. We're going to start with Luigi Mangione and the confusion of what could be a plea deal in the works. We are hearing from sources that there was a meeting, that prosecutors are looking at a possible plea deal in the federal case. But that could introduce quite an issue of double jeopardy. So we're going to be talking to Misty Maris, get her legal analysis. We're going to be talking to Steve Romo, who's covered that case since, hours after the CEO of United was shot and killed. So yeah, that's going to come up first. Then I think we're going to be covering the crazy weather throughout the Midwest, or the middle of the country. Indiana's getting hit really, really hard. Then we are going to talk about, I don't know if you guys have seen what's going on the USS Lincoln. Some concerns from service members and their parents that are reporting mental health concerns, that the USS Lincoln has been overseas without a port call for over 260 days. So, yeah, they are due for a break. Major flooding in Alaska's state capital due to a glacier? James, I didn't know that. Interesting. Max, that's such a hard question. Favorite NFL team? You guys know I'm from New Mexico, right? And you know New Mexicans are weird about football. We got the Broncos up north, the Cowboys to the side, and nobody to root for other than those two geographic maybes. Also Arizona, but there's a thing with New Mexico and Arizona where it's usually just either Cowboys or Broncos. And I just couldn't make up my mind. It was oh yeah, please. It's a short time that I like the Seahawks, but I just, you know, and then I know I'm in Los Angeles now, so I do have a team to root for, but I haven't gotten around to it. Melissa, oh my God, it's a great show. Jacob is mensch. He's awesome. Right? Peace bucks. Yeah, I couldn't imagine. It is wild how long those things can go without pulling into port. What else here? Plea deal is crazy. Yeah. So the biggest thing about the case that I think people forgot is that the federal case doesn't have a gun charge and doesn't have a murder charge. It's stalking. And as I understand it, they're basically saying, you know, it's not double jeopardy because there's two different crimes, and the stalking happened up until the point where he pulls out the gun and then he pulls the trigger, and then there is a separate crime that happens. But the defense is going to argue like, no, it's all the same thing. And so if you prosecute and if you have a guilty plea on this, then it pushes into the murder charge that the state has brought. So it gets very, very confusing. Fortunately, we are going to have a lawyer, and we're going to have answers coming up here. So, let's see. I don't know if it's intentional. I did see some of the texts about that there was a rumor going all around about that, but we have not seen anything to substantiate any of that stuff. They are having a water crisis. We've been covering it pretty regularly. I don't know if we have anything. I don't think we have anything in the show, but we should have, and we'll continue to stay on top of it. We've got about a minute before our show starts here. If you guys are just starting to tune in, what's going to happen is in about 50 seconds, there's going to be a news show that starts up, my news show here. We're going to get into all the news of the day. And then during the commercials, you guys feel free to ask questions, weigh in right here on the comments, and even during some of the, I'm sorry? Yep, okay. Perfect. Feel free to throw questions in there, and if you have questions and I see them in time, I'll try to get them answered by the people that we're talking to. So, MS, you're in the UK? I didn't know you were in the UK. We're going to be talking about your trash man coming up, and Nigel Farage. It's going to be very fun. About 10 seconds. Here we go. Ready? Have a good show, everybody. Have a good show. 4, 3. Good evening, I'm Gotti Schwartz, and we're starting tonight with reports that Luigi Mangione could plead guilty to federal charges in the 2024 killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Now, sources are telling NBC News that the expected plea would be for the federal charges he is facing, not the state charges, and that is where things get extremely complicated. Quick refresher, the federal murder and the federal firearms charges Mangione was facing, those were dismissed by a judge back in January, but he still faces 2 counts of stalking ending in death. If he's convicted on those, he faces life in prison. No official word on a potential guilty plea, but a source familiar with the matter telling NBC News that Mangione did meet with his lawyers this morning ahead of a court hearing tomorrow. And this all comes after Mangione pleaded not guilty to 9 state charges in New York, which include that second-degree murder charge. And really, so much of this is going to come down to possibly timing and whether all of this could trigger something known as double jeopardy that could complicate the state's case. First, let's start with Stephen Romo to talk a little bit more about what led to this expected plea here. Stephen, level set with us. What charges would Mangione be pleading guilty to here if we do see that happen tomorrow?
Yeah, Gotti, sources telling NBC News that Mangione is expected to plead guilty to those 2 remaining federal charges. They're both stalking-related charges, and they carry the potential for life in prison because they're not just typical stalking charges. They are stalking that resulted in a death. And you'll remember back in January, the judge threw out the federal charge and the related weapons charge, essentially saying federal prosecutors just had not established legal foundations for those charges. And that is a big deal because that is what took the death penalty off the table here, Gotti.
And yet that, a lot of people argue, was the whole crux of all of this. How might this affect the state case?
Yeah, an interesting question here, Gotti, because this all goes back to that idea of double jeopardy. New York has a really interesting set of statutory protections in regards to double jeopardy, unusually strong as we look at the rest of the country. So this is an issue that the Mangione team has brought up many times before about the idea that he's being tried for the same crime multiple times. So if this plea deal does go through, and it is not a done deal just yet, everyone has to get on the same page and agree to it, and then the judge has to agree to it. If it does go through, it would likely set off a whole new legal fight over this state case and whether it can actually proceed, maybe delaying it, potentially even seeing it dismissed before it ever gets started. It could be part of the defense's overall strategy. That is not yet clear. We have not heard yet from the federal court about this, the DA's office, Mangione's team, all not responding to our request for comment on this as far as tonight goes. But time is ticking. That state trial is set to start in just 3.5 weeks on September 8th. Jury selection is set to begin, so it could have some big ramifications there.
Yeah, that's right around the corner. And tomorrow, you know, like online, we've seen Mangione become some sort of folk hero to some. His court appearances have always brought somewhat of a spectacle outside the courthouse. Are we expecting to see that possibly tomorrow as well?
Yeah, and seeing some video of that spectacle there, Gotti, you know, I was there just an hour or so after Brian Thompson was killed in Midtown Manhattan back in 2024. Then there was the manhunt, finally the arrest, and to see the rise of Luigi Mangione as this celebrity, it has been unusual to say the least. More is certainly expected. And if this state trial does go through, the judge in that case has allowed more room for the public to come in and watch this case. So you can bet there will be more supporters showing up for Luigi Mangione. They have a variety of reasons. I've talked to many of them. Some are outraged at the healthcare system. Others just are really big fans of Mangione. It is a strange twist in this story, but it is definitely part of it, Gotti.
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, plea deal negotiations going on behind the scenes, that's almost always happening. And yet, you know, it's quite the twist in this case. Stephen Romo, thank you so much. Let's bring in NBC News legal analyst Misty Maris to talk a little bit more about this. Misty, so we've got the federal case that could go first here now without the biggest charge, the murder charge. Explain to us what that could do, what that could mean for double jeopardy.
So, Gotti, this is really meaningful, the timing, the fact that we're talking about a federal plea before the state court case goes to trial, which is scheduled for September 8th. The reason being, New York's double jeopardy law is much more expansive than the federal law. It says you can't be tried twice for a crime that arises out of the same transaction or occurrence. So if, in fact, there is a federal plea, the defense can then take that and use it to try and throw out that state case in its entirety. Now, prosecutors would push back. You'd have a legal fight, but they definitely have a leg to stand on.
Yeah, Missy, this one is, you know, the people that are watching at home, they're sitting on the couch, they're like, wait, I saw a video of somebody with a gun go up, and I saw the CEO get shot and killed. And they're going to be looking at 2 of these cases, one of them with these stalking charges, with no gun charge, with no murder charge, and then they're hearing about this state case with the murder charge. It is all so very confusing. Does it seem like there's a lack of coordination or possibly any coordination between local prosecutors and the feds who are pursuing this? They're federal prosecutors?
Yeah, so short of when these cases were first brought, right from the very beginning, when there was some coordination and some information sharing and dual investigations, they've really gone forward on two totally different tracks. And this relates to what we call dual sovereignty, that the state court system and the federal court system are completely separate and apart. And there was a little push-pull about which case would actually go first. And funny enough, it was the defense that was really pushing for that federal case to go first because of that double jeopardy issue. The federal case ended up being pushed back to January. State case is full speed ahead in September, maybe pushed back now, depending on what happens tomorrow. But Gotti, there really isn't a lot of communication or coordination with these prosecutors because they really do push forward independently. But I understand why people find it confusing when you have multiple prosecutions for the same set of facts and circumstances.
Now, what is Mangioni's strongest defense at this point, other than this kind of quagmire that we're looking at?
So in federal court, there's an element that says that the person that you're stalking has to have a fear of be intimidated. They have to have a reasonable fear. And so I guess in federal court, the best defense is likely to be, did Brian Thompson ever know that Luigi Mangione was stalking him? This could be one reason why federal prosecutors are willing to sit down and actually talk about this case with Mangione. That being said, we know that they have some theory to support that on the state case. I think this really is going to come down to jury selection. We know Mangione got a lot of fans out there, so that's going to be quite a process to seat a jury who's actually going to be looking at the facts and evidence as opposed to everything outside of the courtroom.
That is such a good point. I mean, the pre-trial publicity on this case, I can't think of another case in recent memory that has gotten this much attention. Although with this expected plea tomorrow, like that all comes down to the judge and sentencing, right? If that happens, how do you see that playing?
So if prosecutors enter a plea deal with Mangione, what would they really be willing to give up? Gotti, somebody is dead. As you said, we have it on video. So are they going to plead to a lesser charge? I think that's really unlikely. Would they make a recommendation for something less than life? Or would it be what's called an open plea, where Mangione pleads guilty and the prosecutors promise nothing, but then he can raise mitigating factors to the judge, like taking accountability, taking responsibility. We just don't know what that looks like, but I have a hard time thinking that federal prosecutors are going to be giving kind of a slap on the wrist here. I think if there's a plea deal, it's going to be for these very, very serious charges, which, by the way, carry a life sentence, possibly.
Yeah, those federal prosecutors are going to be looking very hard for a win after seeing the murder charge tossed out. Misty Maris, we'll see what happens tomorrow. Really appreciate your legal insight. And storms and flood threats are not over yet in Indiana. Take a look at these scenes all over the state. Gas stations are underwater, roads collapsing. Some parts of Indiana got over a foot of rain in just 24 hours, and they are going to get more into tonight. Storms are sweeping across the Midwest. Lightning almost struck troopers in South Dakota. Take a look at this moment.
What's that, purple shirt?
Such a close call. And in Washington state, wildfires have now scorched all 3 of their national parks, the smoke making the air pretty unhealthy up there. Meanwhile, Hawaii is facing tropical storm Lala, which could become the first hurricane to make landfall on the Big Island. And let's get out to NBC's Maggie Vespa, who is in Anderson, Indiana, by another street that once again looks like a river there. What's going on behind you?
Yeah. Yeah, so Gotti, basically this town, this river, is just getting into its flood stage. In other words, the river here, the White River, is still rising. You can see how it's creeping up around those homes back there. People in this area and other areas of the city, they've already been ordered to evacuate because this river isn't expected to crest until 2 a.m. And when it does, it's expected to hit a record 24 feet. So this could be the highest river, expected to be the highest river levels this area has ever seen. And part of that is because we could see more rain in the forecast overnight. In other areas where we were earlier, including in Cambridge City, the waters receded. So it's kind of a tale of 2 stages of this flood, if you will. And people were basically showing up to their homes all day today, surveying the damage, seeing what the floods had done to their homes, to their town. We met one couple who walked in and everything was just caked in mud. Their entire home was ruined. Belongings flipped over, their refrigerator on its side, their floors had buckled. And the mother was just crying, saying, we've worked our entire lives for this. And Gotti, they actually told me they have flood insurance. They had already found out from their insurance agent that the vast majority of their possessions would not be covered. So even with flood insurance, they're just coming home to this absolute heartbreak.
Yeah, it's so unfair, and Mother Nature can be so powerful and yet so cruel. I know that where you are right now, it looks like the worst of it is going to be in the middle of the night. Yeah. It looks like you got people behind you, some people down the street. I know that evacuation orders have gone out, but are people leaving?
Some, basically, and I think we see this in a lot of places where, flooding happens and severe weather happens. Some people want to ride it out. One woman just told me that she had looked at going to a shelter, but she was told that her pets couldn't come with her. That was enough for her. She's going to stay here with her pets, and she said, we'll swim if we have to. And for a lot of people, and you're right, we have some people back there who are basically just watching this thing rise. For a lot of people, they've had floods before, but obviously these houses here are up on hills and it's never touched their homes. But here's the thing, Gotti, you've heard us say this all week. People just keep telling us this rain event, which our climate team has said was a 1,000-year rain event, it basically is unlike anything anyone's ever seen. It was close to a foot of rain in somewhere between 24 and 36 hours, and we have more rain coming. So, yeah, you're right. Some people haven't left here, and we'll see what this looks like tomorrow, basically.
Yeah, here's hoping it's not as bad as they think it's going to get tonight. Maggie Vespa, once again, out there in the floodwaters, thank you. Meanwhile, as the war in Iran continues, there have been reports that allege sailors aboard the USS Lincoln are having a mental health crisis. Some of them even attempting to jump overboard. And we're also hearing reports that some of these sailors have been at sea for more than 9 months.
They've had issues where they were getting water in the hangar bays because the doors wouldn't shut all the way. Morale, I would say, is probably a little bit lower because they've been out for so long. They're kind of getting frustrated because that deployment date keeps getting moved up and then it gets moved back and it gets moved up. I am concerned. It's not dire conditions, but I do think that it's time for the Lincoln to come into port.
And let's break it all down with NBC senior White House correspondent Gabe Gutierrez. Gabe, what do we know about these reports of sailors jumping overboard?
Well, Gotti, it is disturbing, and we now have heard from a U.S. official that there has been one report of a sailor going overboard earlier this month, but that the person was quickly rescued and then treated and sent home. Still, though, there are concerns among family members of those people on board the ship that suggest that they may be suffering from mental health struggles, and they are very concerned about this. We spoke with the relative, the mother of someone who was on board the ship a little earlier today. Here's how she described it. She says that this has happened before, but it is the length of this particular deployment and the fact that this ship, that the USS Lincoln, hasn't gone to a port in more than 200 days that is really weighing on her and her family member. Let's listen.
I can say this, that on every deployment that my daughter has been on, there has always been a few sailors that have successfully jumped off the ship or almost jumping off the ship. It's nothing new to this deployment than any other deployment. But I do think a little more mental health for all the sailors on board ship when they're deployed needs to be there.
Again, it is the timing of this deployment, the length of the deployment that is troubling her. And, she described her daughter sending pictures of, conditions on the ship, or at least describing issues with the plumbing, with the water getting into the ship as well. And this is something that family members have been raising concerns about now for several weeks to military leadership. And again, Gotti, now we understand from a U.S. official that the USS Lincoln will be coming back home to San Diego to be replaced by the USS Washington. Gotti.
What has the DOD been saying about, some of the pictures that we've seen, some of the reports of the conditions and these cries for more attention to be given to mental health on board those ships?
Well, today we actually did hear from Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. He said that the reports of conditions on the ship, in his words, have been completely misrepresented. He says that the service members on that ship are doing something incredible, and his heart goes out to them. But we also then heard from a U.S. official who comes back and says that there have been issues with supplies sometimes getting to the ship, understandably because of the ongoing conflict in Iran, but that current conditions are going well. We also did get a statement from a Navy spokesperson, a Navy official rather, who says we have not observed an increase in suicidal ideations or attempts on board the ship. So certainly the Pentagon is trying to make the case that this is something that has been handled, that yes, it's been a long deployment because of the changing conditions on the ground, but for relatives of the service members on board, many of them have been frustrated and are now happy to hear that the U.S. Lincoln is coming home.
Yeah, the USS George Washington possibly headed to switch them out, but how long does that usually take?
Well, that process can take a while. It's expected to take at least several weeks. And yes, the Lincoln is coming back to San Diego. And, the daughter of the woman we spoke with, she has been deployed since late last year. It has been a very long time. As I, said, 244 days without a port call. It's not just a long deployment. It's the fact that it hasn't gone to port to replenish, to refill, to give, even a little bit of downtime to these sailors. And that's a record, 244 days. That's the longest, Gotti, that has ever been seen. And so, yes, now it's expected to take several weeks for the USS Washington to replace the Lincoln in the Middle East, even as this war drags on, and it appears to be no end in sight at this point, Gotti.
Well, we hope for their safe return. NBC's Gabe Gutierrez, thank you. Just hours ago, a 4.2 magnitude aftershock hitting Colombia in the same epicenter of that powerful 7.4 quake just days ago. This all comes as rescue crews are racing against the clock, trying to find any survivors in these next crucial hours. Now, families are flying in, desperate to find their loved ones, like this woman right here. Listen.
I'm trying my best to stay calm. I know we're getting closer, and I have faith. I know God is in control, and I'm hoping to see my dad soon.
We're praying for her as well. She's just one of so many families holding on to that last glimmer of hope so far. More than 270 people are dead, while hundreds remain missing. NBC's George Solis has more from Cali, Colombia.
The search for survivors continues. Overnight here at this site, what used to be an apartment building, crews working diligently to remove as much debris as possible. The urgency comes after rescuers thought they heard someone deep within the rubble. Now, tragically, that has not been the case yet. But as you can see, no one here is deterred. You can see how fast they're working. Hope all some have left. At this very site, we spoke with a woman from Long Island. Her name is Ana Valencia. She got in at 2 a.m. with the rest of her family, moving the smaller bricks by hand. Her father, Miguel Valencia, she believes is somewhere in this rubble. She is keeping hope alive, like so many throughout Western Colombia, praying for a miracle. Different sites right now, many of these scenes playing out. There have been miraculous rescues. We have heard accounts from people who have been pulled from the rubble, others who made it out just in the nick of time. We were at a hospital speaking with doctors who tell us they're broken, but they have treated so many patients, more than 100. The director of one hospital, emotional by the sheer weight of what has transpired here across the country. And take a look at this right now. You can see the pride here. This man carrying the flag of Colombia right now, representing, I should say, just the energy. So many here going without sleep, so many here going without eating. It's been grueling temperature at some parts, but nevertheless, they stay resilient. So many neighbors helping neighbors here, all of them knowing that this is going to be a long haul, and all of them grateful to have one another in their time of need. Back to you.
George Solis, thank you. And turning now to the West Bank and the tension growing between Palestinians and Israeli settlers. In the village of Korsra, a group of settlers have surrounded 3 Palestinian homes for days. They've cut off roads and shut off water and electricity, prompting sharp criticism from the U.S. ambassador to Israel. Here's NBC's Matt Bradley with more from the Middle East.
Tonight, a tense standoff in the West Bank where dozens of Jewish Israeli settlers have trapped 2 Palestinian families in their homes since Sunday. Security camera footage from the Palestinian homes shows settlers, mostly young men, pacing around the property, fighting with Israeli soldiers and border guards, and using rocks to block Israeli military trucks from reaching the site. It's also deprived the families of food, water, and cut off their electricity. All we have left is a little bread, a little halawa, this cheese, a tomato, said the home's owner in a video asking for help. NBC News' Richard Engel spoke with one of the homeowners in a piece that ran on Hallie Jackson Now last week.
What would happen if I walked up this hill and came to you?
ممكن يصير عليك خطر يعني راح يلاقوك راح يضربوك مش راح بتوقع ما يخلوكش عايش
بيتك أنا أجي أقعد فيه.
Would you accept me coming into your home, living here, and forcing you out, said the town's mayor. We keep speaking out, but no one listens to us. No one tells our story to the world. But now, this siege is attracting international attention. U.S. Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee, known to be pro-Israel, called the settlers terrorists whose thuggish behavior should be punished. The IDF said today that it had dispersed the settlers, but when we went, we found several were still there. You can see right now there are settlers running right along in black, just below those homes that are now under siege. That's terrifying for the 2 families still inside. Some of Karim Hassan's adult children are in the houses. To keep watch on his daughter, he's sleeping here. He says this has been his house since January of this year. His car. Hours ago, he was told that soldiers took his daughter's phone. After an anxious wait, he finally got through to her.
طيب أنا معي صحافي بس بروح في مصنع محمد صابر بضايقوكم؟ لا بس يعني كلمة تطلعوش برا. خلاص تطلعوش برا. أين جوا قاعدين؟ ماشي ديروا بالكم، أكل عندكم؟ ما عطاناش وقت، أخذنا بس المعلبات والمي وخبز.
The residents here say the soldiers haven't been doing enough to protect them. They accuse the military of working with the settlers to force out the Palestinians. They point to a video earlier this week that showed IDF soldiers praying with the settlers, inciting accusations of collusion. The IDF said disciplinary action would be taken against the security personnel involved. Despite the Israeli government's pledges to stop settler violence, attacks have been on the rise. The United Nations said that last month was among the deadliest for settler attacks against Palestinians. That's when a newly built mosque was set on fire and tagged with Hebrew graffiti saying revenge with blood. But a spokesman for Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says it's the Palestinians who are attacking the settlers. And you believe the balance of the terror, the balance of the violence is on the Palestinians in the West Bank, not on the Israeli settlers?
There's no comparison here. There's been 1,300 terror attacks targeting Israeli people to kill them, and 25 have been killed. Now, that doesn't justify any type of vigilante behavior, but you cannot use that to whitewash.
But for the Palestinian families here, there's nothing to whitewash. The violence is right outside their door.
Matt Bradley with some important reporting there. Matt, thank you. And don't go anywhere. Coming up next, a surrogate gives birth despite the parents' request to abort. Now the baby is at the center of a complicated legal battle as courts grapple with who gets custody. Plus, privacy concerns over controversial AI-powered security cameras across the country sparking calls for change. Now the company is responding. And also, if you see this QR code, pull out your phone. You can scan through. You can chat with us live. Let us know your thoughts. That'll take you behind the scenes, streaming on YouTube, TikTok, or Twitch. Come on in.
Not too much. Speaking of that, I think we had somebody come through. Yeah, Thomas. Found you by accident playing on YouTube and tried the QR code, and boom, here you are. I don't know if you're still here, but Thomas, welcome. Welcome to the community where we talk about the news and try to, you know, get through it together. Campbell Corn, even Huckabee called, yep, yeah, even Huckabee. Let's see. Hey, Thomas, there you are. Enjoy the ability. Oh, this is awesome. Okay, 72 years young. All right, Thomas. You're a fast draw on the phone if you're able to get it so quick on the QR code there, because we don't leave it up long enough. But yeah, welcome. So here's how it works. Every day, if you're watching here, if you have a question about what you're seeing, I'll try to get it asked if I see it. Sometimes I can see it, sometimes I can't. We got 30 seconds to go. Then we're doing headlines, right?
Yes.
Yeah, headlines. And then, yeah, feel free to interact with everybody. I think you're on YouTube. YouTube is pretty, you know, like mostly, what we're looking for is elevated discourse in the chat. And for the most part, we do get that a lot. So feel free to yeah, chat away, and welcome. Thanks so much for watching, everybody.
5, 4, 3.
Hey, welcome back. Here are some other headlines we are watching tonight. The trial over the murder of Tupac Shakur has seated a jury. That jury panel is 6 men, 10 women. They will decide if Dwayne Keith D. Davis orchestrated the rapper's murder almost 30 years ago. Davis has pled not guilty, and opening statements are expected to start on Monday. And in southern England, a train derailed with passengers inside, hurting at least 20 people. Passengers say they felt the train rocking as they picked up speed, and then the train jumped. 3 of those train cars completely tipped over, you see there. But why that train derailed, that is still under investigation. And there was a viral moment out of Houston. A high school teacher, I mean, you see it, very emotional. He's in tears after his own seniors could not complete a basic reading and writing assignment. Darius Williams posted that video on Instagram saying he broke down mid-class after he walked them through an assignment and they still could not do it.
I literally broke down in the middle of class. These are 17 and 18-year-old kids, and they couldn't fill in 4 words. 4 words.
Teaching, the most noble profession. Williams, he is a teacher at the Technical Education Wheatley High School. His video has sparked a wider conversation online about literacy gaps nationwide. And we saw soccer star Erling Haaland's face everywhere during the World Cup, right? But Ecuadorian police, yeah, they found his face somewhere unexpected on a cocaine shipment he had nothing to do with that they seized near the Colombian border. Apparently, drug traffickers labeled their shipments with famous people to signal where those drugs came from. The driver of the shipment was arrested on Wednesday, and the drugs were valued at around $11 million. And LA Dodger Freddie Freeman might have been a little bit sore when he woke up this morning. Take a look at this.
Collins skies it right side. Freddie Freeman's underneath it on the warning track toward the net. The dugout, look out! Freddie takes a tumble.
The first baseman took quite the fall in last night's game against Kansas City. He was not seriously hurt, though, so he's going to be playing in tonight's game against the Brewers. Despite the fall, Dodgers, yep, they still took home the win. And in Texas, a baby born just yesterday is at the center of an extremely complicated legal fight over abortion, over surrogacy, and who is a parent. Now, here are some of the facts. A California couple, they hired a woman from Alaska to be their surrogate. That woman's name is McKenna West. At around 20 weeks pregnant, doctors found the baby had a serious heart defect that would require lifelong care, a number of surgeries, and West claims the parents started pressuring her into getting an abortion. She refused. The parents deny that, though. West then went to Texas, and this is important because Texas law says that the woman who gives birth is the baby's mother, and hoping that that would help her keep the parental rights. Well, then Texas's Republican Attorney General Ken Paxton, he stepped in, getting a court order guaranteeing the baby life-saving medical care once born. But a California court had already ruled the couple are the baby's legal parents, a ruling that an appeals court upheld. Now that the baby has been born, again, just born yesterday, a Texas court has sided with the parents again. They, not West, have custody and control medical decisions, which West is still fighting in court. Let's bring in Ryan Chandler, who's following this for us. Ryan, I cannot remember a more complicated legal case. The baby, though, the baby was born just yesterday. It needs a lot of medical attention. How's the baby doing tonight?
Well, you did a fantastic job trying to break down this incredibly complicated case as simply as you always do, Gotti. But a heartbreaking case. If there is any good news after all of that, we are told the baby is doing well tonight. This is a very serious condition, but it is treatable and survivable with immediate care after birth. And we're told that the biological parents were actually able to travel to Dallas to be with their newborn shortly after birth. And in fact, the surrogate's attorney told us that she was not even allowed to hold the baby after that Texas court order, which blocked her from asserting any parental rights while this plays out through the court. Gotti.
McKenna West, I mean, she's spoken out about this. Has it just been through her attorney, or is she speaking out as well personally?
She has been speaking out. She gave a lengthy interview to an anti-abortion organization called Live Action, where she gave a heartbreaking account of having to wrestle with her own moral convictions against the legal, contractual, financial obligations that she had signed up for when agreeing to become a surrogate. She said she really had no indication that this was even a possibility, but when she realized that she would have to be the one to go in to an abortion clinic and sign the consent forms, she just couldn't bring herself to do it. I want you to listen to that in her own words.
It was just a horrible, trapped feeling to be like, this is my body and I absolutely don't want to go through this. But I just felt like I didn't have a say.
So again, that baby was born yesterday, and while this still plays out in the courts, she is still fighting to be the one to raise that child, Gotti.
Yeah, we'll see what happens next. Ryan Chandler, thank you so much. And joining us now is NBC's legal analyst Danny Savalos to try to help us sort through this case. This is a very odd one. Each side, they're arguing parental rights. How is this going to play out, do you think?
This is a very complicated choice of law issue. It comes up all the time in litigation. And honestly, it is really difficult to discern which state has the superior interest because each state has its own choice of law rules, but someone has to decide which of those rules to apply to decide which state's rules apply. You can see how this gets really complicated. And at its core, you've got a California court apparently reportedly saying that deciding the issue of parenthood. But then you have a Texas law that says that immediately upon birth, whoever the birth mother is presumed to be the mother. So you're going to have a contractual issue going right up against an issue of law, and one court's going to have to decide.
Yeah, I mean, this case would be so complicated even without the politics of abortion and of states' rights, and yet we see all of that piled on. Oh, I think what's being forgotten is the kid who is alive right now. But in terms of going forward, how do you see this legal battle and whatever precedent is set having an impact in things like surrogacy pregnancies?
Well, one of the things is that it's likely that the mother traveled to Texas because of its very favorable laws. And that is we have by design a patchwork quilt of healthcare laws, especially relating to things like birth, because that's the way the Constitution is designed. It reserves to the states what's called the police power. And it's much broader than just the police that pull you over. Police power refers to the state's prerogative to legislate in the area of health and safety. And so these states each have their own laws. It is patchwork, but that's by design. But you're right in that we may see a gravitational pull toward or pushing away from certain states based on their favorable or unfavorable laws.
And a lot of this stuff is just happening, so I understand if you don't have an answer to this. But again, if the intent was to go to Texas because Texas is very friendly towards mothers that give birth and says that is the baby's mother, and yet the custody has been awarded and that's been upheld by a Texas court, how did that happen?
It happened because she traveled to Texas and had the child. But I get your question in that nothing can prevent her from doing that, not a contractual agreement. In fact, the law of contracts is not designed to prevent people from doing things. It's designed to create remedies when people do breach contracts. But the interesting thing about these kinds of surrogacy contracts is they likely have lots of provisions that may be unenforceable. Imagine a provision that says that thou shalt have an abortion if we want you to have an abortion. That sounds like something that would be contracting against something that would be lawful. In other words, a command forcing someone to have an abortion. So you can imagine that these contracts are already in a kind of legal gray area. So it really depends not only on the judge that hears it, but the state in which that dispute is brought.
Yeah, again, a case that may set some precedent, may give us some clarity, but just heartbreaking all around. Danny Savalos, thank you so very much for joining us. And coming up, a political race in the UK has one of the biggest names in British politics going up against a man in a trash can costume. Voters, they are heading to the poll today to cast their vote. More on that coming up.
Wow. That case is so wild. Whew. All right. Yeah, she set that up really perfectly. Thank you, Camila.
Sounds good.
We love Count Binface, says hi. Hi, are you in the GB? Poor prognosis. Binks, thank you for that. I didn't know that. Oof. Man, just so sad all around. SML, yeah, Max Columbus. I have not seen the new studios. Let's see. Peace Bucks, because of the heart defect that was detected early on. But the biological parents say that they did not make that request. That's somewhat disputed. It's very, very complex. We'll see. What's going on in the U.S.? Oh, a lot. Have you been watching? Man, it has been a very, very crazy day today. Uh-oh, my scripts just went down. What's our time back?
You got 90.
90 seconds. Are we on time with both of those, Todd? Okay, cool. Yeah, Binks, baby in ICU, NICU. Man, it is a super conundrum of a case. And yeah, we'll see if it really has an impact on, like we think the Supreme Court is Roe v. Wade and all those cases are the law of the land, and then something like this comes out and legal lines are being redrawn every single day.
1 minute.
Erie, huge fire near Santa Fe and Taos, out of control. Oh no. Oh no. In the Pecos? Is it burning in the Frijoles fire? Eesh. Yikes. That is such a beautiful, beautiful area. The Pecos, yeah. It's one of my favorite places to camp up there. The Frijoles fire, yeah. Oh, hopefully they get a handle on that. Okay, this one is for MS, I think. You're out there in the UK. British politics, very interesting. Here we go, you guys ready? Oh.
4, 3.
Hey, welcome back. If you haven't been following British politics, this next story is a reason maybe you should, because this guy, look at this. That guy, a man in a trash can costume with a cape, might have a slim shot at winning a seat in Parliament. Now, here's the deal. Right-wing politician Nigel Farage, he quit his seat to seek re-election and clear his name over some financial allegations. Other major political parties, they refused to take part, basically calling it a political stunt, which is why they're not running a candidate in the race. But one man has stepped up to the plate, and that man is dressed as a trash can, and he goes by the name of Count Binface. NBC's Janice Mackey-Frayer has more.
A political showdown in a seaside town is pitting one of Britain's most divisive politicians, Nigel Farage, against, well, a trash can.
Yeah, my name's Count Face, and I've entered the race with Clacton's new MP.
Meet Count Binface, a self-proclaimed galactic space warrior and comedian who emerged in body armor as Farage's main rival in a special election that came to epitomize voter discontent here.
Thanks, buddy. You want somebody new who will stand up for you.
Some of Count Binface's policies are a bit out there, like building at least one affordable house, nationalizing the British singer Adele, and capping the price of croissants.
And of course, move the hand dryer in the gents' toilets at the Crown and Treaty Pub, Uxbridge, to a more sensible position. Because as you can imagine, that's a national issue.
The vote comes as Nigel Farage finds himself in a political bind, facing an investigation over not declaring a multi-million-dollar gift from a crypto billionaire before he was elected to Parliament in 2024.
Farage denied doing anything wrong and resigned, saying voters should determine if he keeps his job.
I've decided that the people of Clacton should be the judges of my actions. This will be a people versus the establishment by-election.
But mainstream party candidates boycotted the special election, accusing Farage of playing political games.
Nigel Farage is having a hissy fit because the first time he's actually having to deal with some real scrutiny.
Enter Count Binface, whose real name is John Harvey. He's no stranger to the sort of trash talk that comes with politics, having run against prime ministers before. Yet this time, Binface has oddly been gaining support as the ultimate protest vote.
Who are you voting for?
Binface.
Binface.
Binface. Absolutely. 100%.
Is that because you want Count Binface to be your elected representative in Parliament?
I have looked at his manifesto and there is a lot of rubbish in there, don't get me wrong.
Is it basically a vote against Farage?
It's a vote against Farage.
Still, Farage, an ally of President Trump, appears unlikely to be thrown out by a garbage can. Farage's strong positions on immigration and Brexit building momentum for his populist right-of-centre Reform Party.
Who am I voting for? Nigel Farage, of course. He's the best, simply the best.
Regardless of the election's outcome, the unlikely rise of Count Binface captures a mood here among those worn down by politics, finding a laugh and maybe a bit of hope that even a man in a can might change things. Janice Mackey-Frayer, NBC News, London.
Those croissants out there are a little pricey. Janice Mackey-Frayer, thank you so very much. Coming up, in the future of everything, Flock making some changes after major pushback over its AI-powered security cameras sparked privacy concerns. What we're learning about that next.
90 seconds. Okay, 90 seconds.
C-reverse.
C-reverse standing. C-reverse is over there? Yep. Over, okay. Cool. Yes, hi, I saw that. Talking about the Twitch. Look, here's the crazy thing. Twitch is, Forbes is reporting that. The question I have is, YouTube is owned by Google. Google runs Gemini, right? Gemini, I've asked Gemini some questions about our stream, and it has been able to pull some information from our stream, which I thought was pretty interesting. So you've got that, and then TikTok, who knows what TikTok's doing? But yeah, it is, I'm glad you posted that, hi. It's very, very interesting. And there's so much stuff that's going on that we just don't know about, but we suspect. Am I voting for Binface? I'm not in the UK. 30. But if I was, I wouldn't vote because I'm one of those journalists that doesn't believe in voting. While I'm a journalist. And I respect journalists that do vote, but I just know myself. And I am a passionate person. And it makes me feel weird. So, whenever you're watching this and you're like, he's a Democrat, or he's a Republican, I don't vote.
7.
And I won't as a journalist.
5, 4, 3.
Tonight, In the future of everything, people are taking a stand against flock cameras, those AI security cameras that police can use to track people. You might have seen those videos like this one of people going up to them, trying to take them down, sometimes destroying them. Well, now, after much public scrutiny, Flock says it is adding some safeguards. NBC's Dana Griffin has more.
Flock Safety, the surveillance tech company using pole-mounted traffic cameras like these to record and analyze vehicles, announcing major changes today, implementing new safeguards after instances of police misusing its technology. Law enforcement agencies across the country say the tech is an important tool for fighting crime, but it's causing quite a stir.
Get the Flock out of Troy. Thank you very much.
Flock now says it's cutting its default data retention time from 30 days to just 7 and is adding a mandatory misuse detection that will flag abnormal searches. The shift comes after a string of officer resignations and arrests for allegedly abusing the system. Like in Milwaukee, just last month, a former Wisconsin police officer was sentenced to a year of probation after pleading guilty to a charge for abusing his department's Flock system to track his ex and her partner.
I'm mortified when I read through the impact statement here as to how Mr. Ayala's actions affected victim 2, from what I understand.
Mr. Ayala, anything you'd like to say to the victims? One said they were traumatized.
Cases like these, part of what's fueling heated town halls nationwide and a wave of Flock camera vandalism. Under public pressure, several municipalities have canceled or not renewed contracts with Flock over privacy concerns, something we've covered on this show. In our previous coverage, to get a sense of how law enforcement is utilizing Flock, we went to Alameda County. You hear an alert tone. What does that tell you?
So the alert tone is related to the license plate readers, and it lets us know that there's been an activation. There's one right now on a vehicle traveling past one of our cameras that are positioned in a public place.
What could that mean exactly?
That could mean a number of things. That camera network is hooked up to the Department of Justice, so the stolen vehicle system. It could be an armed robbery car, carjacking, a murder vehicle.
I mean, this thing is going off.
We get a lot of alerts in this county.
While it may receive information from federal law enforcement, Alameda County insists the data isn't flowing the other way. The Atlantic magazine running an essay just this week titled In Defense of Flock, with the author from the conservative-leaning Manhattan Institute arguing for smart regulation instead of bans, saying, in our surveillance-saturated society, police cameras can help make the criminal justice system both fairer and less punitive if we let them. But some privacy advocates say Flock's new changes don't go far enough. The ACLU telling NBC News the company is still collecting billions and billions of license plate scans every month on people who have done nothing wrong. Flock, now in more than 10,000 communities, the public keeping a close eye on its cameras.
Dana Griffin, thank you. And as Meta glasses are getting more and more popular, so is the pushback against them from people who don't want to be filmed. Now some settings are putting bans in place. NBC's Yasmin Vasugian has more.
It's what many thought the future would look like.
Yeah, telephones, needles.
Wearable technology, not just pictured on the silver screen anymore, but mirrored in real life. Meta's latest AI glasses look unsuspecting, even stylish. The company collaborating with Ray-Ban, a product that intrigued Breck Metra and her family.
When my husband got them, I mean, we have kids, so he was like, it would just be fun to, like, in the moment, be able to, like, capture something that you don't have to pull out your phone.
A great idea until they were used in her home by someone else.
That still looks small to me, but
She says she and her husband sell vintage T-shirts online, often from their own living room. But while making a sale at her home in Utah, she didn't realize it was all recorded until it was posted to social media.
Usually you can like tell if there's a light on when they're recording. Again, I didn't notice that at all. So initially I was just I felt like kind of violated. My kids were in it. He kind of blurred them out, but he didn't in some of the shots.
She asked the content creator to delete the post, and instead she says he blocked her. She escalated it to Instagram, also owned by Meta.
I filed a complaint and I sent them the video and the screenshot. They sent me an auto email back saying thank you, and then we'll look into it.
After a family member also complained to the user, the video was deleted, but not before it racked up some tens of thousands of views, Breck says. We were unable to reach the person who posted the video for comment, and Instagram didn't comment directly on this situation. But Breck is not alone. The internet is inundated with videos just like it. Usually more flirty encounters.
No, I just want to let you know you're a very beautiful young lady.
Women getting approached by men on the street, asking for their name, number, or even for a date. With some women saying they had no idea that casual conversation was being used for content.
Didn't know he was recording me.
In the United States, people cannot expect to have much of a right to privacy in public places. And in most states, you can legally record your conversation with someone without their permission.
Unfortunately, the sorts of protections that exist right now are not really robust in allowing people to have videos taken down.
Meta, in a blog post, seems to recognize a certain amount of transparency is welcome, noting that every pair of its glasses has a small LED light that blinks when the user takes a video or snaps a picture.
Meta Ray-Ban display.
But those lights can be easily obscured, even removed. NBC News found listings across at least 30 states offering services to do just that. But in a recent update, Meta announced a new privacy feature that shuts some generations of the glasses off if the device detects that the LED light is being tampered with. Across social media, some are suggesting women play copyrighted music to avoid being on camera.
We all know that Disney goes after people that don't license their music, right?
A sly tactic that could prevent some content from being uploaded on platforms like YouTube and TikTok. Instagram, though, reportedly cracking down on some of the videos shot by Meta glasses. Its CEO saying the pickup artist prankster-style videos would be banned from the app.
We don't want people to be surreptitiously taking videos of other people and harassing them and then posting them on our platform.
Meta told us in a statement, quote, "We've built privacy in the camera for the glasses from the ground up. A capture LED that will blink bright white when you take a photo or video." Adding, "When people report content, it gets reviewed quickly and taken down if they find it violates bullying and harassment policies." Still, there's been a new push to ban the smart glasses in certain settings, with New York banning them in state courts and Philadelphia courts making a similar move. It all came after a judge in Los Angeles scolded Mark Zuckerberg's team for wearing Meta glasses during a high-profile trial. And some private businesses also taking action, like Comic-Con in the UK, saying recently many attendees are, quote, "not comfortable with the knowledge that other convention goers might be filming them without consent." But sales numbers tell a different story. Ray-Ban's owner said purchases of its AI glasses more than tripled in the last year to over 7 million pairs. The company did not respond to our request for comment. In the last year alone, Meta recruited A-list celebrities for major ad campaigns.
Hey, Meta, call my lawyer.
And new collaborations.
Hey, Meta, take a picture.
Advanced technology that once seemed a lifetime away.
Morning, Mr. Hunt.
But comes with complications that we're dealing with now. Yasmin Vasugian, NBC News.
Complicated time we live in. Yasmin, thank you so much. And still to come, how a nonprofit in Connecticut is helping first-time buyers navigate the housing market. But first, you got to see this. This one's a good one. Surveillance video out of Portland, Oregon shows these two guys. They are goats. They hop onto a city bus. No one seems to be quite sure where they came from, but it looks like the two knew where they wanted to go. Police got several alerts of those two wandering around, but after the pair were spotted near a local shopping center, officers never found them. Hopefully, they found their way back home. Because of, that's the sound you make. We'll be right back. Oh, they just fired me for that dad joke. Gotta go.
I knew it was coming.
All right, thanks so much. Thank you. Great show, everybody.
Great show.
Okay, the rest of the show, you guys probably saw it at the beginning of the stream. We played that because we did a pre-tape. So it'll play on the network right now if you're watching NBC News now. But the show is done from the studio for now. So that's where we're at. I tried SML. It didn't. I know, Monkey Beast. I'm sorry. Bah, bah. If I didn't have such a cold, maybe I would have been able to really nail that delivery. Monkey Beast canceled. Okay, well, here lies my career. Recording in public is legal, but there's nothing anyone can do about it. Yes, in most states. California is a two-party consent state, so it gets a little bit tricky in places like California. That looks like a bad time. Hi, yeah. Mark Owen, I can't afford a cheeseburger. I find that difficult to believe because you can afford to partake in something other than a cheeseburger during our shows. Don't think that I don't notice what you're up to in the chat. But you know what? I bet it's an interesting way to watch the news. It's nice to use this tech to protect oneself from psychos. Well, that's a take. They're handy to have as headphones. Interesting. I have not tried them yet. Binks a cat. Aw, thanks. We will see you Monday. Yes, best news on TikTok. Aw, thanks so much. Thanks for watching. Thomas, please come back whenever you want. You can watch it old school way on the television, kick back, or if you want to ask questions, feel free to come on by here. That's my cold voice. Yeah, it is. And let's see. Okay, you guys have a wonderful weekend. And everybody needs to watch tomorrow. Steve Patterson, his debut as an anchor. He is the man. In fact, afterwards, if you guys can do us a favor and then just get on X or get on, Instagram and tag NBC and be like, man, he did a really good job. Steve Patterson is amazing. Steve is the man. That would be awesome. He is such a great journalist. All right, see you guys.
Way more expensive. Matt Austin with NBC Connecticut is showing us how one nonprofit is helping first-time buyers fulfill their dreams.
So this is my lovely kitchen where I make my family meal, and I love to bake.
For Vanita Green, this kitchen is more than just a place to cook. It's proof that what once felt impossible is now reality. Green recently moved into this Hartford home with her son and daughter.
What was it like to move in here?
It was a relief. It was joyous, very exciting.
Like many families, Green was feeling the pressure of rising rents. Connecticut is the 6th most expensive state in the country for renters, with average monthly rents nearing $2,000. But Green had financial concerns about becoming a first-time home buyer.
Did you even kind of think that it would be possible?
Initially, I was thinking it was impossible.
And she's not alone. Hartford was recently named the hottest housing market in the country. So what's behind it? Well, there's not enough homes to meet demand. That is increasing prices and helping homes to sell fast.
NACA proud.
Green turned to NACA, the Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America, which provides advocacy and counseling to help eliminate barriers to home ownership. The national nonprofit has an office in Hartford.
Everybody in America should own their own house. And everybody who have a house should be able to keep it.
People can take a free homebuyer workshop. NACA offers a below-market interest rate, no down payment, no closing costs, and people don't have to have perfect credit.
And I've seen a lot of people who come in who feel, I can't get this done. I'll never get this done. And they walk out here with a key. I've seen people go from homeless to owning a 2-family.
Green was able to buy a 3-bedroom home for her family.
So this is my living room, and I'm trying to be a plant mom.
And she hopes her story encourages others who think home ownership isn't possible.
For persons that are out there that still has some uncertainty, keep asking themselves, can they do it? Yes, you can do it.
Matt Austin for NBC News Now.
The American dream, and quite the plant mom out there. Matt Austin, thank you so very much. That's going to do it for us tonight. I'm Gotti Schwartz. We'll see you here tomorrow. But until then, stay tuned to NBC News.